Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls. I'm your host, Patricia Baker. I'm here with my co-host all the way from Tucson, PK. How you doing tonight?
Absolutely fabulous. It's a beautiful day.
Nice.
Warm breeze. That means you can sneeze like crazy because all the flowers are in bloom. It's beautiful, but boy, can it be deadly to the sinuses.
I bet.
But it's okay.
No, it's good. It's good that it's okay. It's warm here, too, for a change.
Yes. What are you trying to do, steal our thunder?
Yeah, we have, well, you know how we suffer.
Yes, just a little bit in the winter. No boots and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's really gorgeous out there today. So I'm really happy about that. I got my plants ready to be planted.
I was just going to ask you about your garden planted yet or getting started too.
I've got it started, but I got a ways to go. You know, I have a huge garden. So
yes, you do. Most definitely.
So, but I'm going.
Who would think of you as the country girl?
I know, right?
I know it.
But I'll tell you what, once I, sat down and read all the stuff they're doing to our food, what they're injecting it with.
God, yes.
A lot more comfortable growing my own. I really do.
Well, it's a lot safer for sure.
I know.
I would, but we can't dig through the caliche here. My God, it's like hard rock.
Oh my God. Well, forget it then. Yeah.
The only thing that's why the cactus are the only thing with their needles that seem to want to grow. Stung twice.
Through that. Oh God. Well, I know you've been working on something special for us.
Well, a friend sent me an article and I fell in love with the fact that it's so interesting. So I'm going to read it to you because it's a white buffalo was born on the 25th of April of this year. And he was born in Kansas. For those who don't know the prophecy of the white buffalo woman, it is the most significant prophecy of the Lakota people. Others like Comanche and Navajo also see it as a sign of things changing in the world and better times coming. God, we all loved hearing that part.
Oh, yes.
Even the National Bison Association says that it is indeed a rare event, about 1 in 10 million chances, a symbol of hope and honoring which is sacred. This is a reminder to pray and remember your relationships with the Creator. Just as the white buffalo woman taught the Lakota people to pray with the 7 sacred ceremonies over 19 generations ago. And if the prophecy is true, many major changes this year will lead us to a better relationship with the earth, with each other, and with the Great Spirit in the sky. I can't think of anything that would be more uplifting than for this to take place.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness. That's a beautiful message. And I hope.
Oh gosh, yes.
Too, because we need better times. It's been tough on everybody for a lot of different reasons, but mostly the economy. And you know what happens with Biden and his new tax plan. It's just going to kill everything and everybody. So,
well, it's working on it. I mean, we don't have to worry about going to the store and shop. We won't be able to afford the gas to get there.
That's right. And people are already having a hard time with buying food and doing things. I don't know how families do it today.
Oh, I don't either. It's like a nightmare. And if families don't help the families, we're all in trouble because a lot of them just can't make it on their own right now.
No. And it's just these new taxes are just going to kill the rest of what's left of our economy and make it that much more difficult.
Definitely.
To survive this. So let's hope we have this wonderful prophecy and this white buffalo birth that is so magical and so beautiful that will give us more to look forward to. So
Definitely.
That's all good. And I see our guest is here, but her device is not connected. So Chanel, you might want to reach out to her by phone and see if you can help her get connected.
Chanel is magic. She'll get it fixed.
I know. But I may need to find out if there's another number, because number we called, she didn't answer. So anyhow, but I did want to mention something about the aliens, the ETs in Las Vegas.
Yes.
As you recall, there was a big hoopla about this, and the people who had this show up in their backyard did take some video. People were just like really taken aback by what they saw in the video. And then I heard a story. Allegedly, these people were paid off not to talk about it. However, I did see them recently talking about it and saying that, look, if we were doing this for publicity, we would have handled it quite differently. And we're not. This happened. And apparently, another person was reporting that allegedly this family was having demonic experiences in their home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they had a priest come and bless the home. And after that, it calmed down, which is a good idea to do. So anyways, but I'm really wondering how they got released from their agreement, if they had one, because we know that there was a non-disclosure situation that probably happened. Usually that's what they do with things like this. Keep it quiet. So anyhow, I'm still mystified by that. I think it probably did happen. I don't know if it was interdimensionals or ETs, could be either one. And it would be nice if we had some disclosure on it rather than people trying to cover it up. But
that's what they do so well. Covering up is the name of the game for most people, which is sad.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful. And yet that's what we're all faced with. We're going to be going back in our shows to, going forward, I should say, more UFO experts are going to be coming on to talk with us about what's happening. Now we know there's a group of people apparently that want to get things out in the open. And then there's another group that does not. So we're going to have to see who wins out. I also hear that the superpowers, the other countries who are interested in disclosure, may get ahead of us with this. And if that happens, it's going to be very embarrassing, in my opinion, for the United States, because they're going to look pretty foolish that they have been covering this up the way they have, and yet other countries are disclosing. So
this has been happening for years.
Yes.
Why are they so fearful of the truth?
Well, I think there's a number of reasons, and that's why we're going to have more people come back, and that's what we're going to get into.
What was the old saying? The truth will set us free.
Yes.
Gee, what a good idea.
They don't want us to be free, you know that.
Oh, I knew there was a catch.
Like us as slaves. So no, I'm done with that. So I know you are too.
I have to be. I can't handle it anymore.
I know, really. Well, our guest has made it here. So let me tell a little bit about our guest who's been on the show before. We've had a lot of fun with Julia Gordon-Bramer. She is here with us tonight. Now, for those of you who don't know Julia, she is a very accomplished woman. She received her undergraduate degree, in literature and language, with an emphasis on writing. There she is, and she's beautiful too.
Yes, she is. On
writing as a profession, and a minor in communications from Webster University, St. Louis, Missouri, in 1999. In 2010, she completed her Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing for Poetry and Fiction at the University of Missouri, St. Louis. And it was during her graduate work that she discovered the connection between Sylvia Plath and mysticism and the occult. Now, Julia was an adjunct professor of humanities and graduate of creative writing at Lindenwood University, where for several years she taught classes on her first book, Fixed Stars Governor Life, Decoding Sylvia Plath. Now, I'm very excited, and I know you are too, to have Julia here, because Sylvia Plath was the most famous poet of her time. Yet she's still relevant. And yet she had this weird suicide thing happen. There's so many mysteries around Sylvia Plath, and Julia, being a scholar, was able to dig into all of this. And she's got a lot to tell us tonight. She's got a fabulous new book, The Occult. Got it right here. Sylvia Plath, The Hidden Spiritual Life of the Visionary Poet. So, Julia, welcome to the show.
Hold this down. Hold down.
Okay.
Oh, where'd she go? Chanel, we're missing our guest. Where'd she go? She's here. I see her in the shadows. So
it's been one of those mornings, hasn't it?
Here on the screen so we can talk to her. But anyways, I am thrilled to be talking about this because there's so many mysteries with this lady.
Definitely.
And yet she was this amazing intellect. I mean, the fact that she created all this poetry that, I mean, today is well known. It was not forgotten. So anyways, I can't wait to talk to her about that. But also what I was interested in hearing more about, and I know you are too, the occult involvement, the occult symbolism of her writing, things like that.
Definitely.
So that's very important information. Now, you know, I called up Lon. Our favorite Lon Duquette is an occult expert on many things and author of about 1 million books. And I asked him, has he heard about Sylvia Plath and the occult? And he said, no, I haven't. So I told him about the show tonight. So I'm hoping our guest will be able to come on the screen very shortly so that we can talk to her. But yeah, he didn't know anything about this. So this, not only was Sylvia Plath a mystery and a secret around mysticism and occult, but she remains a secret to people who are very much involved in the occult, like Lon is. So
amazing.
Yeah, we've got a lot to learn tonight if we can get her on the show. But yeah, and way back then, I mean, being involved with the occult, that was not like a typical thing.
Not really. Oh, you think about people at that point in time, the Ouija board was something unheard of. And that brought some people into the thoughts of what was going on. And they started playing with what's going on. And then people would come out that we were impressed with their knowledge of what was really going on.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we started a following that was incredible.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the world today and how accepting so many people are of mysticism, of mediumship, of being psychic, you know, how people are like Joe Dispenza drawing together the science of it and the mind and opening up the pineal gland and how that creates a whole other energy system for us. It pulls us out of material reality and into cosmic consciousness. So he makes it available to people like you and me in our audience. It's like the best, you know, to be able. It is
incredible.
Yeah. So we have access to an understanding that we haven't had in the past, when it was all considered what people call woo-woo. I hate that.
I've met too many people say, oh, you're still involved with that woo stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm going, yes, and I can tell you about what trouble you're going to get into.
That's right. It's just coming around the corner.
That's right.
It's wonderful to see all of these changes in this kind of thing today, and acceptance that there hasn't been before.
Well, seeing people being receptive to what's taking place, as opposed to put an automatic negativity to it where no one wants to believe. They see it, they hear it, they can learn by it, but they'd rather say, no, I don't understand. That's not true.
Right.
Well, we know it is.
Right.
We see it too often for it to be a lie.
I know. Exactly. So, you know, again, there's just there's so many mysteries being unveiled. And of course, some of this is ancient knowledge. And now coming around again. It's like what you and I have discussed, you know, nothing, how does it go? Nothing
new. Nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. And everything old is new again. So yeah, we have that. So anyways, it's an exciting time to be alive and watch a lot of these things, just showing up in front of us and people talking about it on the news. I mean, did you ever think we'd be hearing people talking about UFOs on the news? Finally.
Without saying, oh, you're kidding, that's not real.
Right.
Even though they can show it in the sky, they have cameras that have taken pictures from plane to plane, but they don't exist.
Right.
I always found that amazing.
Yeah, right. I know.
Their little magic wand in the air. God. Crazy stuff.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to somebody the other day about UFOs, and she goes, oh, it scares me. And I'm like, well, was your mother taken by a UFO? No. Was your grandmother taken by a UFO? No. I said, then you don't have anything to worry about.
They're not coming after you.
They didn't come after them. They're not coming after you. Don't worry. You're safe.
Do you think that there's a family connection of one generation to another of those that have been involved? You will say maybe 100 years ago, being involved with someone as of today.
I think that's quite possible. And again, because the records then, I'm sure they didn't include that great-grandmother was abducted by a UFO. But, and again, a lot of people didn't talk about it comfortably.
No, definitely not.
Don't tell anybody. They'll think you're crazy. So, yeah. So I'm sure that the lineage goes way, way back for a lot of people. And certainly for a number of Native Americans, I think that's also true.
Oh, I think things that they have come up with, this is going to sound silly, but in the old Western movies, when the Indians would have certain things, and then when it came about, as years progressed, the Westerns are way behind us, back in the Gene Autry days, etc. Yeah. All of a sudden, some of that stuff they talked about has been proven to be real.
Yes.
Amazing, isn't it?
It is. It is. And we have a message from one of our listeners tonight. Eric Hardwork joined us, and he said there is a great new UFO video from over LaGuardia Airport in New York. Yes, Eric, I saw that. It was taken by, I believe, a mother and daughter. And thank you for bringing that up and reminding us. It was extremely clear. There
Wonderful.
Was away from it. This didn't look interdimensional to me. It looked like an actual craft. So anyways, that's definitely something. I think they are becoming more and more clear.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about themselves. So
I have to check that out. Great.
Too. Not many videos impressed me like this did. And yeah, I felt the same way, Eric. That was an incredible video taken by, I believe those two ladies did take it. So I'd like to see more like that. So I'd like to see one in my backyard. Can you imagine?
Will you take pictures for me?
Of course I will. I'll take pictures, videos, and then my husband can't argue with me anymore. Then say, they don't exist.
Tell him he doesn't know what he's matched up against when he starts arguing with you.
Well, especially about this.
Exactly.
Yes. So let's see. Eric is having a great conversation with us. He says, I'm the MUFON State Director of MUFON, Massachusetts. No kidding. Wow, Eric, it's great to meet you. Wow. Well, please reach out to us, DM us or message me or in PK, because we'd like to have you on the show. This would be great. Yes.
Certainly would.
Yes. Well, and there's a lot that goes on in Massachusetts, as I'm sure Eric will confirm.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things, and certainly the Andreessen affair that happened in Massachusetts. I believe it was Ashburnham that took place, and then there's that other one, the Berkshire sighting, where the whole town saw it. I think that was in Sheffield, Connecticut, Sheffield, Massachusetts. So
sounds familiar.
Yeah, and then they gave a big monument to it. So, anyways, they're going to be doing a big thing around that. So nice to meet you too, Eric. So glad that you joined us.
Definitely.
So is our guest ready yet?
It looks like it.
Yeah, there she is. Hi.
Hi, finally.
Good to see you. Although we love chatting with Eric while you were gone. So anyway.
Hello.
What a book. Oh my God. I've already introduced you, so everybody knows who you are.
Yes.
This is an incredible book. Now, you are a scholar. I can't imagine anybody else taking this on but you.
Yeah.
This is a huge project, but it took 15 years of digging.
This is, really over 15 years, but 15 years of archival research in reading the books Sylvia Plath read and reading her little inscriptions and, ephemera, they call it, just the little notes and things, lots of unpublished documents in the Plath archives, mostly in Bloomington, Indiana, in the Lilly Library there. And I've been, when I was in graduate school back in 2007, getting my own degree, my MFA in creative writing and poetry, I saw a lot of tarot imagery in Plath's work. And what was first just going to be a semester end project, encouraged by my professor, who didn't, he said, I don't know what you're talking about, when I pointed this out. And I realized, okay, you have to be both a tarot scholar, as I am, as I've read tarot for over 45 years, and a Plath scholar to put the two together to see what she did. So that first set me on the mission, which was, as I said, just going to be my semester end project. It really became my life's work, though. And the Occult Sylvia Plath here is, it was originally going to be the introduction to my first book. This is now out of print. I do sell the PDF for $5, though. And it's Fixed Stars Govern a Life, Decoding Sylvia Plath. I wanted to explain in the introduction that, that Plath had this long history of mysticism, and she was really kind of raised in it, and her husband, Ted Hughes, was, and together they were active practitioners. And nobody knows this stuff. Everyone just knows Plath as the famous suicide and the drama, and maybe, in the best light, they know her as a feminist writer. And really, this completely changes how you read her if you have an idea of her, just natural inclinations and influences. And to read one of Plath's aerial poems, understanding the alignment with the tarot cards, which is what my first book did, Fixed Stars Govern a Life, that's to radically reinterpret her work. So it's so much more than the drama. People have held her to this strict autobiography for well over 50 years, and it's just so limiting. She was a genius's genius, and it's really my goal to prove that.
Well, I think that's great, but I know what everybody wants to know. Why did she kill herself?
Yeah, well, so there are a lot of reasons. It's kind of complicated. She didn't have an easy life, for one. Her father died when she was 8, and she was a very perfectionistic young woman whose mother maybe leaned on her a little too much and encouraged a lot of that perfectionism. She was very fragile, and when she was 20, she had her first suicide attempt, which, just a very, that's what The Bell Jar is about, if you're familiar with her yes. very autobiographical novel, The Bell Jar. And she had electric shock therapy, and, there's a lot of reasons. And then when she married Ted Hughes, she had married the man who she believed was the perfect man, certainly perfect for her. But she saw him. She even prophesied that he would be poet laureate of England, and sure enough, he was. Oh, and he ran off with another woman and left her and their 2 young children. And she was in the worst winter that England had seen in 100 years. She had the flu really bad. She was terribly depressed with being jilted. She probably had some bipolar issues. I think it was all a little bit too much. However, one thing I do talk about in the Occult Sylvia Plath, there's a lot of evidence that Plath and Hughes were into Kabbalah. And interestingly, Ted Hughes has been widely written about Kabbalah and infused in his work. No one thought to look at Plath's for some reason in that same light. But Kabbalah has some rules. And one of the rules is you must be male. Another one of the rules is you must be 40 years or older to practice. The rabbis who set these rules going back however many, possibly 1,000 or more years, they had their reasons, and whether or not, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with them, but Plath and Hughes broke those. I mean, Hughes, of course, was male, but he was in his 20s, and Sylvia was both female and in her 20s. So in those rules, the punishment, interestingly, is madness. So, so if you go along with Kabbalah, that's another potential reason.
Wow. Well, as you're talking about it, I was trying to tune into the spirit of this incredible woman who was so talented and so brilliant. And I keep picking up, she was kind of like a split, that there wasn't one person there. There were two.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she had her very, people think she was all depressive. They think she was all, just angry and miserable. And that's so not true. If you read her letters, if you read her journals, she was quite funny. She really was brilliant. Tested off the charts in IQ. I'm not sure what the number was, but I know she was tested as a genius if you hold any regard to IQs. Yeah. And and so she certainly had her different sides, her different moods. She was a Scorpio, and she was a Scorpio through and through.
Sure was. Well, as we all know, the scorpion is the only animal on the planet that can kill itself with its own poison. So there you
go. Right.
Case closed.
I wish I put that in my book.
What a challenging life, but she brought forth such great art in her poetry. She spoke to so many people with it, which is incredible.
Yeah. She truly, and Ted Hughes, they talked about this, about, poetry is one of the first spells. And they believed, that they were infusing their work with astrologically propitious dates in some cases. They certainly sent it out on the right dates. They had the right symbols. They had, elements of mythology and elements of alchemy. And this was all a big, carefully planned spell. And, wow. And it certainly has worked for both of them. Mm-hmm. As I said, he became Poet Laureate of England. He was no slouch himself.
No, absolutely. Now, as you read through all of this work and all the other notes about her, did you feel that she was also trying to communicate another message underneath the words of her poetry? So what I discovered is, just as Kabbalah is this many-sided, the Kabbalah tree of life has its many sides and its many angles. And Kabbalah is this sort of umbrella for the occult sciences. And so it's kind of a framework that all the occult sciences lean on. You could call it like a blueprint. And so what I've determined is Plath had in each of the Ariel poems, and I have my copy of Ariel right here. In each poem, she had at least 6 different meanings. So the same set of words in all 42 poems, she managed this to give each poem 6 different meanings in the same set of words. So what I mean by that is there's the tarot kind of, I call it tarot and Kabbalah symbolism and imagery, because tarot is really definitely set on that Kabbalah framework. There's alchemy, there's history, and just sort of the world events. There's the arts and the humanities. She incorporated a lot of, sometimes she would pull a famous painting into it or something like that. Astronomy and astrology is in there. And let's see, what am I forgetting? I lost count here. Anyway, she had all of these different facets to each poem. And so my first book, Fixed Stars Govern a Life, takes each poem and breaks it apart.
and discusses these individual meanings. So I had a Harvard mathematician talk about how possible it was to for this to be coincidence, and it isn't possible.
Yeah.
It's like one in a gagillion, or whatever. Like for to do this not just one time but 40 times, and to have it each have the 6 different meanings and have them so perfectly aligned. It's just amazing what she was capable of. As a poet, I've tried my hand at it, and I can get maybe 2 meanings, but not 6, and not beautifully done like her.
Well, she was a real craftswoman at what she did. But now she died at the young age too, 30, right?
Yeah, 30 years old. She died on February 11th, 1963. I've always believed I was kind of called to do this work. And I was born 9 months after, in November 26, 1963. And I was, back then, babies could be late. I was 2 weeks late. And so had I been on time, it might have been right to the date.
Thank God.
I do not profess to be Plath reincarnated or anything like that. I'm not sure I'd want to be, but I do believe I've been called, and I've had a lot of signs that I've been on path. Maybe the greatest one is that I became the inheritor of her hermetic caduceus, which is like it's something she carved out of wood. It's sort of a magic wand with alchemical symbols, and it has the S and the P at the base of it. And she carved this in her summer camp as a teenager. And the original owner of this was a friend of the Plath family, and he's an elderly man now, Dr. Richard Larson, and he wanted the right person to have it. He wanted somebody who respected her mysticism, and through a friend of a friend, we were connected, and it's now mine. And the value of this—
it's wonderful.
I have no idea what the value of this is. Her tarot cards were auctioned off in 2020, and they, tarot cards that she did not make by hand. And some even say it's questionable whether she actually used this particular deck. But they went for over $200,000 US.
Oh my God.
So as you can imagine, I don't keep this thing laying around. I keep it in a safe. I do have some pictures of it on my Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So anybody who wants to see it.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Chanel, I don't know if you can grab one of those pictures off of Facebook or Instagram of that staff, but that would be great to see. But oh my goodness. Is it possible that you maybe were a close friend of hers in that life?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. When I read her work, I mean, she speaks to everyone. I know so many Plath scholars who are just like, oh, like she got me. She had the words for me, and I certainly have felt some of that, but I don't know. I think I'm a little different. I think I'm less of a fangirl. I mean, I am definitely, I am in awe of her talent. Absolutely. But I almost think of myself more of a John the Baptist, like, hey,
go along with
this is here. We're not seeing it, let me show you.
Yes.
And, let me show you her greatness. And, because I think everybody has missed it for so many years.
Nobody figured this out, just you.
Yeah. And I felt, many times I wondered if I was truly on path. The academia has not been kind. What I learned real quick is, first of all, they're all atheists, and Plath herself called herself an atheist, but most people will say she was the most spiritual atheist ever. She used bibliomancy and Ouija boards and astrology and she was known for her witchy bonfires and putting Ted Hughes's nail clippings and dandruff in them, and there's a lot. She wanted to, when she was with Ted, they practiced hypnosis, and she talked about levitation, and she talked about being an automatic reader and writer in the way of, they wanted to be like W.B. Yeats and his wife Georgie, and where Yeats channeled and Georgie took notes and everything. They had they practiced everything they could. This picture on the cover with the crystal ball, this is actually Sylvia Plath on the cover holding a crystal ball. Mm-hmm. And so, they were not really secret about it. But people think that, because she said she was an atheist. Well, of course she said that, because witchcraft had just gone off the books as a crime in England in the early 1950s. And I believe it was 1953. And, and she had this history of being institutionalized and having shock therapy and a suicide attempt. So she would have been called crazy if she had stated that she was a serious practitioner. Plus, she had children to consider and their reputation.
I was going to ask you about that. Tell us about her children.
So she had her daughter, Frida Hughes, and her son, Nicholas. Frida, I believe, was born in 1960, I think, on April 1st. And Nicholas was, I've forgotten his birthday, but I believe he's in 1962. And I, they're their own tragedy. Frida's written, she's an artist today. She's alive. She's a pretty accomplished poet and an artist herself. She's written a lot about her terrible upbringing and lack of love and being abandoned by her mother and put in boarding school by her father, and kind of the wicked stepmother, and lot of problems. And then Nicholas, so sadly, died by suicide himself. Oh, no. A handful of years ago. And he and his father, Ted Hughes, were very close. But I think when you lose a parent to suicide and you have the tumultuous upbringing they had, really, they lost more than one parent, because the woman that Ted left Sylvia for, Asha Wevel, she also died by suicide the same exact way, and took the daughter that he had with Ted Hughes, Shura. So the kids, Plath's kids, had played with this little girl, Shura, and known Asha as sort of a second mother or a replacement. They didn't get married, but she was around a lot. And then when Ted wouldn't marry her, she'd had enough, and she was quite depressed, and she felt she was losing her looks, and she'd given Ted Hughes everything, and he felt that he didn't love his daughter with her like he loved his kids with Plath, and so she took them both away. So very sad.
How many lives lost? Oh my God.
Yeah, a lot of drama. And I have a whole section in the Occult Sylvia Plath called After Plath, because Ted Hughes had a very interesting life after her too. And he was really kind of haunted by Plath, whether literally or figuratively. I let my readers make that decision. But he never got over her. And it wasn't really until he wrote his final collection of poems, Birthday Letters, which won, it might have won a Pulitzer. It won a lot of awards. I know that. And that was sort of his making amends with Sylvia. And he died soon after that. But he was in a lot of torment, and that didn't stop him. He had a lot of women after her too.
Really? Yeah. What was it about this guy? Was he very charismatic?
He was gorgeous. He was gorgeous. He was charismatic. He was talented. In the movie that came out called Sylvia, starring Gwyneth Paltrow, they had Daniel Craig playing Ted Hughes. And while Daniel Craig wasn't the big booming kind of guy Hughes was, he had the looks right. Yeah. Ted Hughes was a stunning man in his youth, and pretty good looking as an older guy. And he kind of coasted on his reputation in the real later years there,
Yeah. Goodness. Well, it's just such extremes in this whole story and this whole thing. You have these highs, the poet laureate and Sylvia Plath being so famous, and then the lows of this insanity and deciding that life is going to be better without me in it. And off they went, her and this other woman and her child. Right. So, and the son too. So it's such, it's like climbing Mount Everest and hooray, and then falling down into the depths of hell.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had a working title, and my working title but when I submitted the manuscript to the publisher, I
think we lost your sound. What happened here?
It disappeared.
Chanel, we're missing Julia's sound.
She muted herself, Chanel said.
Oh, okay.
Julia, you muted yourself.
You muted yourself.
Click unmute on your computer.
Click unmute. Are you back?
Okay.
There you go.
There you are. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
Yay.
Okay. I don't know how that happened. That's so weird. Okay. We are.
He did not want you telling his secrets. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. That was before then. We are in a post Mercury retrograde shadow here.
Definitely.
So
and by the way, just before you go on, Joe Fox is here, and he said hello, Julia. So,
thank you.
Joe is but here. He is here with us, and he wanted to make sure that you heard his hello. So
awesome. Thank you. I had this working title for the Occult Sylvia Plath. I called it The Magician's Girl. And The Magician's Girl, I took that from her poem, The Bee Meeting, which she has this line, "I am the magician's girl, I do not flinch." And I thought that was a really good line to just show that she was such a student of Hughes, and he was her mentor, and he shaped her, and he pushed her, and he really was kind of relentless. And so some people have argued that he pushed her into this breakdown, and I don't think that's an unfair argument. But and then to leave her for another woman, that's pretty rough.
That hurts.
But she was his student of mysticism. Absolutely.
It explains a lot, because I was thinking, well, why didn't she turn to the occult and mysticism to pull herself out of the spiral she was in? Because clearly there is a pathway, many pathways with mysticism and the occult to rise up out of dark dungeon places.
Right.
And she didn't do it. But now I understand more about why, because look at her mentor. So why would she do that? Why would she
Absolutely. And I also truly think she was probably bipolar. So there was, she wasn't working with all her reasonable faculties, shall we say.
Not all the oars were in the water, were they?
Yeah. It was like switching back and forth between one.
And she was 30. I look back on who I was at 30. I was a child, right?
She was in the middle of her Saturn return, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
she had a lot going against her there.
Yes, very much so. And did she have a lot of friends?
Not really. She had a few, some childhood friends she kept in touch with. She had Anne Sexton that she wrote letters to, and they had taken a poetry class together, but very few close. She had a pal in Court Green and Devon that she got together with, and she had one in London, and who she went to her house in her last days. But it seems that she didn't truly trust a lot of women her age, because she was afraid that Ted might look at them. She was terribly jealous. And she certainly most of her friends were like her professors and her doctors, and she kept probably closest with her psychiatrist Ruth Boischer, who got her through the first suicide attempt and breakdown and electric shock therapy. But and she wrote her letters right to the end. But yeah, didn't have friends in the way of a best girlfriend that she saw every day or talked to every day. She definitely was isolated in both Court, especially in Court Green in Devon, which it was sort of Ted Hughes's fantasy to go live in the country, and they had some other motivations. They were very afraid of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and they were thinking that we could be on the edge of a nuclear war, and they wanted to be in the safest place that they could be in England, and they felt it was the country, and there was a lot of fear motivating a lot. So.
Yes.
So, and in London, not much better, having just had her husband desert her, and she was trying to build her new life and trying to set up this new apartment, and everything was kind of going wrong with the terrible weather and the pipes freezing. And yeah, she just kind of had a rotten way all around.
Yeah, this just sounds awful. But the part about being isolated, that certainly is
Definitely
a problem when people are spiraling down. They feel there's no one to turn to. So everybody make sure you've got good friends.
Right. For sure.
It matters. It matters.
It does. It makes a huge difference.
Yes, it does.
What do you hope people will take away from this book about Sylvia Plath?
I would like them to understand that she was so much more complex than a suicide and the drama. And, people know the bell jar, they know the drama. Okay, she was depressed, she was suicidal, she had electric shock treatment. She, yes, that's all true, but there's so much more to her than that. And she truly was a genius's genius. And I would also like people to read this book and to see that, I don't tell people what to believe, but maybe, just maybe, there's more to this life than we see, just with our eyes, or, more than that's tangible, shall we say. And that she had some abilities, and that she had something going on here, as well as Ted Hughes having it, that really put a spell on all of us. And so that's what I would like to leave my readers with.
That's a wonderful explanation. Yeah. And what I felt about her when I was looking at your book is how courageous she was. She really had a lot of courage.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
To do it.
She left Boston and went to school in Cambridge, and except for they came back for a year, her and Ted Hughes, after they were married. They tried to live in America, but he hated it, and she was really just going to go along with anything is that he wanted. So they went back to England, and England didn't suit her. She had terrible sinus infections, and if you've ever been to England, it's cold and it's rainy, and
that it is.
Yeah, she had made a statement in one of her either letters or journals, I can't remember. She had a definite Southern disposition. She liked the sun and the warm climate, and I remember that because I really feel it myself. I'm definitely that way, and so she bravely went to another country and became, just kind of assimilated, and it was a tough time to be a woman back then. I mean, she wrote of in Boston, Boston in the 1950s, she couldn't go for a walk downtown in the evening without a male escort.
That's right.
I mean, we don't realize how society was that recently, that women didn't have that kind of freedom. And she struggled with, needing Ted's approval for everything. Ted had to sign all the checks, and she didn't have these powers. So it had to be incredibly frustrating. And she was a breadwinner. She wasn't just living off of his income. She was writing and winning prizes and publishing regularly and really becoming a poet, quite a famous poet before she died. And The Bell Jar had been published. It didn't get great reviews right away. No one knew it would become the best-selling classic that's still in print today.
Nice.
But she was doing very well and reading on the BBC and, having some really prestigious kind of moments in her own career. So she was no slouch. She was no housewife. And which was kind of unusual back then. And I think she wrestled with that because she also wanted a perfectly kept house, and she was kind of a clean freak, and she wanted to cook and she wanted to be perfect in all things. And that's enough to drive anyone crazy.
That is
Very true. Very true.
But yeah, a lot of pressures, it sounds like she was feeling from many different sides. Yet she managed to create this brilliant poetry that you've deciphered that makes it even more brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think if anybody is interested in poetry, they may want to contact me for the PDF of my first book.
Yes,
Fixed Stars Govern a Life, because that will parse it out and show the different meanings, which is way too complicated for any podcast. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you still do tarot card readings, yes?
I am a professional tarot card reader. I work festivals. I've got my cards with me all the time. I'll be traveling really almost every weekend this summer on a both book and tarot tour. So reading and book signing for my books and reading cards for clients.
What cards do you use?
My favorite will always be the Rider-Waite based. I use Universal Weight. I just think it's dead on. My second favorite is this one in front of me, The Alchemical Tarot by Robert Place.
I've seen that one.
And it's Rider-Waite based, but it has some beautiful interpretations, and it has some little things I like that make it kind of special. Like it has 2 lovers cards. It has sort of that sweet family love, and then it has the more erotic, passionate love. And we all know that there's all kinds of different loves.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. So
people can reach you through your website then to make appointments for private reading.
Yes. Yep. We've got it there. JuliaGordonBramer.com.
There you
also tell us where you'll be showing and working.
I'm going to be in a lot of East Coast places. I'm Ocean City, Maryland this Saturday, Lewis, Delaware Sunday. I've got Richmond, Virginia. I've got Columbia, Maryland. I've got Frederick, Maryland. I've got, let me think of what else. I've got Clearwater, Florida. I'll be doing Chicago. I just finished in Louisiana in 2 locations, in Shreveport and I can't remember how to say it now, but it looks like Natchitoches, but that isn't how you say it. And then I also did Nacogdoches, Texas. So I've been around.
Definitely.
In England. England is coming. Yeah, I'll be in London at Watkins Books, where Plath bought her own tarot cards with Ted Hughes, and I'll be doing that in September.
Unfortunately, we've got about 60 seconds left. But Julia, thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Sorry about the tech stuff.
It's called life.
We have a promo code, Supernatural, to become a member, 30% off, so that you can access all of our shows. I just found out that they pull our shows after a few weeks. So anyways, we're offering this 30% off promo code, and use the word Supernatural. So everybody will be back next week with another great show. And until then, we will see you on the Blue Highway. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.